Welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm your host, Dan, and of course, with me is my co-host, Pagan.
Hi there.
Hello. Shy Pagan.
Is this how you podcast? Hello.
Is this? Did you forget already?
I forget every week, man.
Yeah, I do constantly. Anywho, joining us this week, returning to the show, we have Mr. Michael Timmons.
Hello.
And of course, the one and only Chris Martinez.
Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Noodle Arms himself. What's up? Don't fall out of your chair.
Arms. Oh my god, yes, that was a great episode.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Yeah. Michael, you've been on the podcast a couple times since, right? I think, Chris, this is your second time returning.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
This is
Welcome
my
back.
third.
Welcome
Woot.
back.
Thank you.
Hoot.
Hoot.
Hoot, hoot.
Hoot. Welcome.
Good to have you here, guys. Good
Welcome
to have
back. Thank you for joining us this week. Awesome to have you both. So let's remember how to podcast and get on with the show. So
Yeah.
it's been a
doing
week.
our best, guys.
Doing our best. I am still kind of getting back on my feet after the whole freezing of Texas thing. So yeah, that's got me a little disheveled. I apologize in advance for that.
Has that have you guys come completely out of the snow now? Like, how quickly did that last?
We didn't really have
quickly did it
snow
last? How short
so
did it
much, more as just freezing temperatures.
Oh,
Or a
really? You guys
solid-
didn't get snow? Oh.
We got a little bit of snow, like 2 inches.
Oh, I see.
But
I
then
see.
it was just
Which is-
freezing for like 4 days, which doesn't
still
happen in
record.
Texas.
And
Yeah.
2 inches of snow for any period of time in Texas is a record.
Yeah.
It's been like 120 years since anything like that's happened.
Yeah, it was
No
literally a
way.
record.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And has your temperatures increased? I'm sorry. I
Oh,
didn't
it's like
fudge the
80
weather.
degrees and sunny out. It's like nothing ever happened now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
That's good.
there's still the remnants of, like damage and like our lives being turned upside down. And we had a water line break and we're dealing
That's
with
right.
that. So it's
That's
been a time. We're trying to get back into some sense of normalcy. So like I also wanted to like publicly apologize to a lot of like people who are doing stuff that I haven't been taking a part of. I've missed like the members live videos. I've missed some of the Zooms. It's just been, we're dealing with some shit, okay? Like
Yeah, that's fair though.
back.
Like, take your time. Take your
Yeah.
time. We're gonna be there every single month, so don't worry about it.
Of course. And we'll be there, Pagan.
I am there now.
Moderating.
I have to
Uh-huh.
moderate. I run the show now. It's
Well-
retro replay. It's Pagan and retro replay. That's what it is now.
Okay.
I'm just
Pagan featuring retro
No,
replay.
it's retro pagan.
Retro Pagan. Perfect.
Well, now that we've got Chris back on the show and Michael back on the show, how are you guys doing?
No, I'm doing pretty well, Dan.
Oh, okay, Chris.
Doing very well.
Very
You guys
well.
didn't get hit or anything with the cold spell, right? I mean, obviously,
California?
you're in California.
Uh,
Michael, where are you based?
I'm in West Virginia.
And where did you guys get cold?
Oh yeah, but that's
Like
that's
normal.
We actually experience seasons here.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. I see.
So we got like 4 or 5 inches of snow. We were just like, all right, we're taking the truck instead of the car. Got it.
Cool.
So it's normal out here.
Nice. Chris, I presume you guys didn't get any freezing temperatures in California.
no, we just get a little rain here and there. Comes and goes.
Mhm.
Yours is the nicest state. I think I've been in there. I was there for like a day and a half, and it rained for like 30 seconds.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and then it was like nothing ever happened. We were just like, what the fuck? Like,
Because-
what happened? What is this? As an Irish person, I was like, where's the rain?
I still
Because California weather can't make up its mind.
No. I lived in California for 4 years and I still remember like it only rained probably in like December, January. And when it did rain, nobody knew what the fuck they were doing when they were driving. Like, oh God, what is this?
I didn't know you lived in California, Dan.
Yeah, I lived in San Diego for 4 years.
What?
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 Have I not
No,
talked
no,
about
no.
this?
We haven't talked about this.
No, have I not talked about this like on the podcast or in some
You've
general
definitely
format?
spoken about this on the podcast, and I think like in conversation, but not with Chris, not with Chris on the podcast.
True, and I can't hold Chris to like. You must have listened to every episode.
Listen
of the podcast.
to every episode of the podcast.
How dare you?
Now.
Yes, Chris.
Do
I
it.
lived in San Diego for 4 years while I was stationed out there in the U.S. Navy.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so he's also a Navy man.
I was the theme.
Yeah.
You didn't know that.
Theme.
The theme.
That's
That's
great.
what they're called.
That's fantastic. Good job.
Anywho, moving us right along in the show, we're going to move on to our timely topics. This week, there was a PlayStation State of Play, which I'm going to go on the record and say was a little underwhelming.
Mhm.
Chris is just like, yep. I know most of you are PlayStation
Oh.
fans, so here's kind of like a lowdown of what happened in that State of Play. Sony gave us roughly 10 clips of footage from a lot of games we already knew, and one game that hadn't been announced yet, or two games, I think. There was Five Nights at Freddy's, a new one anyways, and a game called Sifu. I believe those were announcements in that. But otherwise, it was a lot of like, here's games you already know about with maybe some extended footage or news. The biggest ones I would say are Oddworld is coming out next month, and it's going to be free for PlayStation Plus members, which that was pretty exciting for me because I'm a fan of that series. And then they announced a PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy VII that's going to be coming out this summer.
I did see that. And that actually kind of upset me because it's got more features that aren't coming to the PS4. I don't have the PS5 yet. And when that game was announced that they were actually finally doing it, because I've been expecting it since they did a tech demo on the PS3.
Yeah, for the PS3.
So that when they finally announced it was actually happening, I got the first class edition pre-ordered. I've got the big cloud figure and like all the special everything with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell me that Yuffie and another original character are going to be PS5 only. And it's like, you're going to force me to buy a PS5 just for this.
Yep.
They did
Like,
confirm that if you own the PS4 version of the game, it's a free upgrade to the PS5 version.
But then I'd still have to get a PS5 though.
Well, or just not worry about playing the PS5 version of the game. The only thing you're missing out on is that Yuffie episode that they added.
Yeah, that's a lot to me.
Yeah. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. What were you going to say, Chris?
I already.
Like, gone, sorry.
Are you excited about the Final Fantasy news?
Yeah, I am. I just wish I had a PS5 too, but you know, that's easier said than done to acquire one. I mean, like me and a friend of mine, we were talking and he was saying, I'm not even sure if you guys are, some people are going to be able to get the PS5 till maybe next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like there's this rumor going around that you might be able they're going to do like a big restock in April for PS5s for every retail store.
Yes.
But even then it's still going to be difficult to acquire.
Yeah. Seems to be a common.
Yeah, I feel like in my personal opinion, there's not a lot of games for PS5.
True.
Like exclusively to
True.
make me want to be like, I need to get that. Like, I understand God of War got the update, and there's other games that will have like an updated version, and I'm like, but I can just play this on PlayStation 4. Like, if it wasn't for Adam, possibly, like we probably wouldn't have gotten it. But Adam was like, oh my God, PlayStation 5, I'm so excited. The ghost that lives with me.
Why is that?
Yeah.
This plant, see this plant right here? That's Adam.
That's him.
Is that
And
Aloe?
he's sexy. Yeah. Yes, aloe vera.
It's always nice to have on hand.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Especially when you have kids who always
Rip it off
themselves.
and nom.
No,
it's more for sores and burns, right? It's like for sunburn.
Yeah,
and,
like I actually in one of my science classes, my idiot teacher decided he was going to try and melt sulfur right over my hand. And
what the fuck?
so it dripped and it burned me.
Of course.
And so he's like running over to the aloe plant, just breaks a piece off, starts rubbing it on my hand. And I was like, that's awesome. And then apparently he was afraid of being sued. So he gave me the plant. And it's like, yeah, because that's really going to help.
Good compensation.
Perfect.
He gave me a plant. So, you know, I'm not ever going to have a scar.
Did he basically just pull a Fight Club on you and like scald the back of your hand?
I mean, he didn't mean to. It was I don't know. He just wasn't paying enough attention. Like it wasn't like he was like, "Give me your hand," you know. It was just kind of
Good thing that you had aloe vera in the classroom.
Yeah, that was another weird little science experiment.
It's a really good plant to have, though. Like it is a good plant to have, especially if you're cooking and stuff like that. Like if you burn yourself with oil and stuff, aloe is like really good for that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just, in terms of PlayStation 5, I don't think we would have, segue. PlayStation 5, I don't think we would have gotten one because there's not enough exclusive games for it at the moment. Like, just at the minute. I wouldn't be like busting to get a fucking PS5, but in time, I think like as games come out, like Uncharted 4 or, you know what I mean? Like something like that where you're like, oh my God, I need the PlayStation 4 to play this game. Whereas I just don't think the PlayStation 5 has that just yet, but it's coming. Like I think it will come, and then you're like,
for sure.
I need to get my hand on it, and by then the stock will be up. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of across the board. And I've been telling a lot of people the same. Like, don't worry about getting a PS5 yet. You're not really missing anything yet, and the vast majority of games that are on the PlayStation 5 also have a PS4 version. Sure, you're not going to get that most high fidelity version of the game, but I mean, you can also wait and not have to, fork over $1,000 to some scalper for something you don't technically need yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of the same problem with the Xbox. Like the Xbox doesn't have any killer app yet. Like
true.
There's a few on both ends. The PlayStation 5 has got like Demon Souls, and now they got that Destruction All Stars, which was free. They're gonna do Oddworld next month, but otherwise, there's PS4 versions of everything. Which Sony likes to not say. Like, coming to PlayStation 5, also PS4.
But not for Ratchet and Clank.
True, Ratchet and Clank.
True.
But see, it was like, when the PS4 came out, it had a big enough, like, launch library where I was like, oh, I have to have that now. And, like, the one that stood out the most was Infamous Second Son, because I was such a huge fan of the first two on PS3. But, PS5, like, Godfall looked good. But then I've talked to people who have played it, and they said, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And, and I hear that Horizon Zero Dawn is a big thing. I have it. I've played it. I'm not terribly worried about that one. Miles Morales is also on PS4, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it for that. Like, I'm not, I'm like, the resident PlayStation spokesperson, am not worried about a PS5 yet.
I think, yeah. If it had like a better launch title that was exclusive to PlayStation 5, I feel like there might have been a bit more of an urgency about getting one. But at the moment, I feel like it was more just like the exclusivity of having one, knowing that stock was limited. And that's what like bumped people up to get it.
Yeah, it probably would have been a lot bigger if they had like Spider-Man 2 exclusive to PS5 or something.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that would have been. That would have been it.
I don't know.
With the Marvel pair that you have going on, the Spider-Man pair.
Or.
How convenient. I was gonna say though, like in terms of state of play, I think you're right. I think it was really underwhelming, and it was fine. The best thing that they announced or that they showcased a little bit was Deathloop. I think Deathloop looks like a fucking good game. I'm so excited for that game.
Here, I got Spider-Man
and
for
Kena.
you.
Hey.
Hi, Spidey. That's cute, actually. I like that.
Kena looks awesome, actually. I think that game is going to be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah. Kena and Deathloop were the biggest things for me in that state of play. I was like, okay, this is cool. And then the rest of it was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard you the first time.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, PlayStation. But I guess the other news was there was also a Pokemon announcement direct
Pokemon.
Thing, which actually Chris knows way more about that than I do. If you want to share some of the,
Go ahead, Chris. Take it away.
So from what I saw is that they're gonna have like the new Pokemon Snap game for Nintendo Switch, basing off of like the old one, and then let's see, then there's Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, and oh my god, I don't know the other title
was it Pearl. Sapphire or was it Pearl? It was Pearl.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, but
they're remade,
they're
right?
calling it they call him the Brilliant Diamond and something else Pearl.
Something that sounds like Pearl, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so remakes of DS games, Nintendo DS games.
Yeah, that DS game, and then they're having Pokemon Legend Arceus, I think it's called.
Something like that.
It's like there people are saying it's like Breath of the Wild-esque.
Yeah, a big open world Pokemon game.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, big open Pokemon game.
I can't wait for that. Honestly, that looks
sold.
so cool.
I'm gonna get. I have to get a Switch now. No, see, because that's the thing that like. That's the kind of thing that I've always waited for. You know, like when they did Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, an open world Dragon Ball Z game that wasn't sagas on PS4.
Yeah,
I lost my mind. I played that game to the point where I accidentally got the platinum. So because it's just like the open world, you know, fly around the world map, all that kind of thing, like that. You know, I've always wanted to see games that I grew up with do something like that, because I love Dragon Ball Z, but I got tired of all the fighting games.
Yeah,
because every single one is the same thing with a slightly different feature here and there.
Or it's you can go like story. One level higher, Super Saiyan, like cool.
Yeah, but it's like with, you know, Kakarot, it was like, you know, you can go fishing, you can like build.
You know what's funny is I felt that same way for there was a Game Boy Advance Dragon Ball game. Legacy of Goku. That gave me that same kind of like, this is a story-based game with, you know, like it's an action RPG, not just a fighting game. And I had so much more fun with that.
Legacy of Goku 2 is my favorite Game Boy Advance game of all time. Because it is that open world, you know, RPG kind of thing.
And that game was very much structured, kind of like a Pokemon game almost, where you like, it was a top-down view. You're walking around, you'd like, there's like, oh, there's a boulder, but you can't get through it yet until you learn how to do the Kamehameha or something.
Yeah. You had to reach a certain level so you can break down this character barrier that has a big orange floating number 35 on it, which means you need Goku at level 35 before you can get in here. It was awesome.
Yeah, so the open world Pokemon game, that's what's got you like, ooh, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I'm mostly excited for Pokemon, the Diamond and Pearl. But now I looked it up. It's called Shining Pearl. Shining Pearl.
Oh, cool.
But with that, a lot of people were giving it some hate because they're not really too. They don't like the world, the design of it and everything, like how it looks. You know,
what do they expect it to look like?
It's like, you got all this money and everything, and yet you shouldn't be able to make it better. And I go, can you guys just be happy with it?
I guess the question for that then is, if you're going to make a remake of a classic Pokemon game in the classic style of Pokemon, are they expecting it to make it a 3D adventure rather than the top down, like the classic style of Pokemon?
I mean, I don't know.
I would like a 3D adventure.
But they have those now. But I would...
True, yeah, true.
I would prefer the remake to be a little bit more true to the original. At least as a fan of, like... They did that with Link's Awakening. They remade Link's Awakening, and it's exactly the same. Just with, like, some tweaks here and there.
I still have my original copy of Link's Awakening.
I think I still have that for the Game Boy.
I don't have my color though. I just have my Game Boy Advance SP.
Mine's right there.
I still have my
I see it.
I still have that too.
I still have my old copy of Pokemon Yellow. Hi, Kitty.
Oh,
Kitty!
Your kitty
in the background, so cute.
Yeah, I still have my old copy of Pokemon Yellow, and I will never give it up because I have like 150 to 200 hours on it, because I had yellow, blue, and red, 2 Game Boy Advance SPs, and a link cable, and I got all 151.
Oh man, the link cable.
Yes, the dog did that up.
Ever.
I remember when I was in elementary school, like doing the link trading through the cable was such a big thing, and then there was this rule that you could not have those out
in the
outside
school,
in the playground.
No
and the
way.
thing is, the thing is that Like there was this little corner that in the playground where there were no teachers to look, and everybody would be right there, and they'd be like, "All right, so you ready to trade?"
Smuggling their link cables.
Yeah, smuggling their link cables. Like, "All right, you ready to trade? Is there anybody look?" And then you have a lookout going, "Anybody looking?"
It's like a fucking drug deal for Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a drug deal for Pokemon. So what are we trading? What Articuno, Mewtwo, something, Pikachu.
Amazing.
The funny thing about the my Pokemon Yellow having 151 is I didn't do the Nugget Bridge glitch. I bought a used copy of Blue that had 2 Mews on it, so I just traded one over.
Amazing. You imagine buying a copy, there's 2 Mews on it, you're like, fucking yes.
That's exactly
you won
what
the
I said.
jackpot on that trade. Oh my god.
Me and my 15-year-old self, that is exactly what I said. Fucking yes.
Fucking yes.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Oh my god. That's like putting on a coat and finding tenure on the pocket. You're like, yeah, fucking win.
I've done that too.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good feeling.
Bought a pair of pants from Goodwill, found a $5 in the pocket.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Do you know there's a story ages ago about somebody who bought a retro couch from like a secondhand shop. I don't know what you call them. Charity shops? Thrift stores. Yeah. So it's from a charity shop. They bought like a secondhand couch and they found a Rolex on the inside of it, and they sold it for $250,000 because it was a vintage Rolex.
Hell yeah.
So they bought a couch for like 60 quid.
Yeah.
And inside was a $250,000 Rolex. And you're like, what the fuck kind of luck is that?
That also just kind of makes me worry about, do these thrift stores do any kind of inspection or cleaning or anything like that? Because
why would they?
I don't
know.
Well, I mean, it's secondhand stuff. Like that couch could have had a body hidden in it, and they're just
yeah, they had no idea. The thing is, like, I'm sure they've done like a once over of like the visible areas. They didn't bother like actually lifting up any of the cushions and like going into like where there's like tears in the leather or where it was. But yeah, Jesus. my brother was like, you fools. My brother is like a Rolex enthusiast, and he's like, you fools, you should have kept on to that, because like in another 10 years you could have sold it for like $1 million.
I've heard people talk about
crazy,
like classic Rolexes, like they talk about classic cars. They're like, oh, this 1967 Ford Mustang fastback,
amazing,
you know, all this other stuff. And it's like people I work with talk about watches like that. I'm just like, dude, it's a watch.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Like
it's a watch.
Other than like my brother, I didn't know that there was like Rolex enthusiasts that existed, but there is. There's a whole Rolex like club out there where people absolutely adore Rolexes and they invest money in them. And the way they're an investment is if you go buy a Rolex right now, 5,000 euros, say, like one of the like other brands, right? In about 2 or 3 years' time, that would have gained at least $1,000. So like you're investing money, and there are people that my brother knows who have bought Rolexes for like $6,000 to $7,000 and sold them maybe 6 or 7 years later for 20,000. Like they've actually gained money on that. Those enthusiasts are like, it's better than putting money in the bank.
That's crazy.
And better than putting money in property, because property prices will drop, but Rolexes continue to keep their value and they only gain in value. So it's like, for a while there, I was like, I could have a wedding.
Or I started buying and selling Rolexes.
I could just get a Rolex.
I'm just waiting for the smart Rolex.
The smart Rolex? Yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
It's mad how like we were just like, because like my brother's, like I said, a Rolex enthusiast. And we were like, but why? It just tells the time. Like I have an Apple Watch that will fucking send me notifications and tell me about like the calories I'm burning. It'll notify somebody if I fall down. It'll like, if my heart has like an algorithm that doesn't work, or like it starts missing a beat in my heart, it will fucking alert somebody, like my next of kin, and then they can call the ambulance. Like my watch can save a fucking life.
And you can do the emergency thing in case like you get attacked or mugged or something.
Right? There's so many amazing things like, on an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
But like, just your Rolex tells the time. But hey, listen, there's a whole bunch of enthusiasts.
But it will tell the time for a long time.
100%. Yeah, they don't really break, and you can always like replace batteries and stuff like that as well. Like it's not like a car.
Even a broken watch is right twice a day. So
That's great. Put that fucking shit on a t-shirt.
So you'll know kind of what time it is twice a day if you can guess right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you just have that absolute perfect timing to be like, oh, 1:48, okay.
If you go out with your broken watch and just stand in the sun and just check where your shadow is and then be like, yes, my watch seems accurate right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you would also need a, but see, then you would also need a compass to make sure you're facing north, and it would actually have to be a sunny day. Like there's too many variables.
Yeah, just close your eyes and believe. You'll be fine. That's how that works, right?
That's why you pay
feel
hundreds of
the
thousands of
energy,
dollars.
feel the magnetic pull.
If it works for you, I won't argue.
Perfect.
All right. I have one other thing I wanted to throw out there before moving on. The other thing that I thought was funny enough to mention here was that the latest update for Call of Duty is making it so people can't even install it on their base level consoles.
Yep.
Because the install size is pushing past what most consoles have available memory. And I think that's hilarious.
Is this the Call of Duty Warzone one, like Modern Warfare?
It's affecting both Warzone and Black Ops.
Yeah, I opened that today. I opened Warzone today, and it has a 26 gigabyte update.
Yep.
And I was like, you've just installed an 80 gigabyte fucking game. Like, what? Why?
Baseball.
What? You took up fucking 80 gigabytes. It's downloaded for a whole fucking day, and now I can't even play it because I have a 26 gigabyte update. I'm like, what the fuck?
So you're trying to play some Warzone over there, huh?
Yeah, I was trying to play some Warzone
over there. You were going to dip your toe
there.
in and then went, nope. All right.
I did. I actually got one game in before I decided to check the update thingy, or before the update was like in a thing. So I was like, okay, cool, let me do this. And obviously I'm playing on keyboard and mouse now. So I'm like, my brain's stupid. I a console player. What's keyboard? So I'm trying and I die. Like spawn, die, gulag, dead. Okay, great. Now I'll get some spectating for the rest of this fucking game.
That's when
and
you
it's like
quit.
Spawn, dead, gulag, dead. I was like, what is this game? How can I even get anywhere? I can't even fucking land. People sniping me out of the sky.
See, I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in
Just gotta get
one of
good.
the other episodes I was in. I think first-person shooters are better on PC because
They are.
It's just point and click. Like it's literally.
It's not though.
It's
Because you've
not.
got to use the WASD for fucking movement, mate. And then the shift does something and the control does something. And then whenever I gotta fucking do something else, I gotta press F or E. And that shit is confusing.
Every time I try playing Warzone on PC, I always forget how to do the armor. Because it's like there's a million buttons
4.
and I'm like, which one is it? Yeah, I always have to look through the controls and then I'm like, oh, it's that. Okay, all right.
I think that's the problem with my keyboard playing at the moment, is because I have to look down. Like I have to look down to figure out which is the button that I'm supposed to press. And by the time I've looked back up, I'm dead. So it's been fun. It's been a fun 30 seconds.
You find a
in
box,
Warzone.
you hide.
But
Wrong game.
It's like they fucking sense you or something. It's like, oh, I was just here. I was just trying to walk towards this wall over here, and I pressed the wrong thing, and then I'm dead.
So the move on with that is, I think the bigger point here is, what does this mean for next gen consoles, especially when the PlayStation 5 only has an available memory of like, I think it's 600, a little over 600 gigabytes of available memory. And it's like, especially because the PS5 version of the game has higher texture qualities, the installs are even larger. So the Xbox Series X, the PS5, that's rough for those brand new consoles to be that much more limited on memory. You're going to basically have to say, okay, this is the only game I have on this console now.
Does the Xbox have upgradable hardware though right now? Like, because the PlayStation doesn't, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Now you can use an external hard drive on both consoles, but you can't use the external hard drive for the next gen versions of the games. It has to be installed on the internal memory.
Installed on yours.
Yeah.
See, I'm not hearing anything that's making me want to go out and buy one.
Yeah, it's just getting less and less appealing, isn't it? Like, no, I don't
this
think
isn't
so.
about the consoles being appealing or not. It's about where games are going in the future, especially with these insanely large file sizes.
Running face first into brick walls, it sounds.
Or it's going to lead somebody to be like, you know what? I'm not going to play Call of Duty anymore because I can't fit it on my console.
Yeah, not without getting rid of all my other games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I play it. I play Call of Duty. I mean, not as much anymore. I haven't played like for 6 months or so.
Yeah, the last one that I was enthusiastic about was Advanced Warfare. But shit, that was like halfway through the PS4's lifespan. So it's been a while.
I'm kind of like, is there crossplay enabled with those kind of things? Like with Call of Duty?
They are now, yes. They do have crossplay.
Oh. Okay,
yeah. I would play Modern Warfare with my brother-in-law who plays on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
I think ultimately I'm just going to try and figure out how to hook my controller up. I did try, and for some reason the game wasn't recognizing that my controller was there. Computer did, but the game didn't. So I'll see. But I definitely think I personally probably would prefer to play on a controller because I can't get the clickety clicks right. The point and click is great. The point and click is fantastic for the aiming. I got you. But fucking moving around, trying to like crouch or slide or open things or put armor on, I'm like,
yeah, I feel you on that. Like the aiming is definitely better, but I also have the same struggle like with the mapping of the keyboard and like having your hands spread out across the keys and like having to look down and be like, am I pushing shift or am I pushing caps lock? Which one am I pushing?
That happens to me all the time.
Oh, damn, I hit the Windows button. Now the whole thing is just back on the home screen.
Yep.
And I died.
Oh, the way
look, I'm dead again.
Yeah.
Dead, like dead. Like shit.
The way Pagan was saying, yep. It's like, how many times have you done that?
Pressing the Windows button all the time.
Yeah.
Fucking all the time because I play Fortnite. Or Little Nightmares. I was playing Little Nightmares on this, and I'm like, oh god! And I'm looking for the crouch button, which I think was shift, and I don't know why, but I'm like, oh my god, it's control. And then I press the Windows button. I'm like, no, and then I die.
See, no,
that was so much fun to watch, though.
If I was playing any game that's not a shooter on PC, I would definitely be using a controller. Like I default to using a controller on PC.
Yeah.
If I'm not playing a shooter, where a mouse and keyboard is going to be a little better.
But yeah, I mean. Yeah, sorry. In relation to your question, how do I think that's going to affect next-gen consoles? It's a bit shitty, if I'm honest, because so that was 80 gigabytes of fucking hardware that I had to install on, and then a 26 gigabyte update, and that's another whatever, that's over 100 now. That's kind of crap that it's just one game that way. But in saying that, there's plenty of other games that are like 80 gigabytes worth. Isn't Red Dead like 80 gigabytes?
I mean, like the base install, it would be.
It's like
there's quite a few games.
Well, what they're saying with
if you
this
installed
is like
only open world games like that, you'd get like fucking 5 games on that console.
Well, what they're saying is that the Call of Duty installation is taking up almost 500 gigabytes total.
What? Why?
That's what this report is saying. That the game install is taking.
That's crazy.
Right. They're saying it's going to take up almost all of your memory, which to the point of. For the PlayStation 4 to do an update, it needs like a bare minimum of storage space to download this update and then install it. So if you are beyond that threshold, it won't let you do it. And that's where it's like, okay, so people with the base hard drive are kind of boned. And then even for the PS5, like I said, the PS5 only has I think it's 630 gigabytes usable memory, give or take, out of the 825 it comes with.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, so do you have to buy a separate PlayStation 5 to play Call of Duty if you want to play anything else besides that? Because I sure shit don't want to keep downloading a 400 gigabyte update or install every time I want to play the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anywho. Moving right along, I suppose.
Yes.
Talking about retro replay this week. Let's start off with trailer talk, since that's the chronological order that the episodes air.
It sure is.
Where everyone over at the lovely retro replay, we're watching a trailer for the movie called Cherry, which I feel like I heard about this movie, but I can't remember. Pagan was, involved in this, as when we all know now that she is kind of a crew. Cast crew. Who?
Kind of crew?
Kind of.
Yeah.
You've been crew. You're now kind of cast.
Oh, I see. That makes better sense.
I actually have noticed.
You were very offended. Like, excuse me.
Huh?
How dare you?
I actually have noticed that that's kind of the way, like, as far as crew, you've got Stephanie, Paul, and PJ.
Mm-hmm.
And then cast is like Nolan, Liam, Todd. And then cast and crew is like Pagan and Drew. Because they're in the episodes, but they're also behind the scenes.
Mm.
So it's like,
yeah, I guess when you put it like that, but I definitely wouldn't consider myself cast. When I'm saying like cast, I'd be referring to Nolan, Liam, and Todd.
Yeah, I mean, you're
also
appear
like,
regularly on the show now.
I know,
yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I guess I never really thought about it that way. Huh.
And then so is Drew. Drew is crew, but also cast because he's the voice in the episodes.
True.
Mm.
That's true.
Drew probably would deny that he's cast, though.
Drew's like, nah.
No.
Nah.
Even in the like the cast
that makes
Zoom.
sense.
Yeah, even in the cast Zoom meetings, you're there. Drew's there with Nolan, Liam, Tom.
Yeah.
And then in the crew Zooms, PJ, Stephanie, Paul, you, Drew, you're all there.
I mean, I feel you on this, but I would not let Nolan alone in the room with you guys. Like, no, who knows what would go down? The plans for mass destruction would happen. No, I run most of the member Zooms because I basically managing memberships behind the scenes. So I do pretty much everything for the memberships, and then we'll have creative meetings with Drew regarding like perks or anything that needs to be fulfilled. But I'm looking after all of that, which is why I'm running those Zooms. I run the cast crew and the cast one, and I run the crew one. So I never thought that I would be here to talk to you people. I'm just here as a person running this thing. Y'all go ahead. Y'all be free. And
thing.
Drew is there just in case anything happens on my side. So if like my internet cuts out, whatever, like, and people like to speak to Drew because Drew has a lot of insight over the obviously the production of the show because he's, head of content. So that's clearly why Drew is there as well. And obviously, yeah, I think like now you put it that way, he is cast. So that makes sense. But me, I'm just there because I am moderating. I'm moderating the show. I'm not like, hey, talk to me. I'm the cast of Retro Replay.
Well,
but you're still actually in the episodes. Though,
the original point was you're on Trailer Talk. You are a member of the cast of Trailer Talk. You are there.
Sorry, yeah.
You're on camera.
I am. Yes.
You're sharing an opinion on what you're watching and everything.
Well, but then
you're not just moderating. You're not moderating their chat.
No, but that's crew and cast having a chat.
Yeah.
So technically, we're all cast in that episode.
Exactly. So, anywho, back to the point. You guys watched the trailer for Cherry.
We did.
That trailer, I was 100% in Nolan's corner with that trailer. Like his whole viewpoint on it, I was right there with him. Like, I don't know what to make of this. I could go one way or the other. I'm curious though, so I look forward to checking it out. How are you guys feeling? I know your opinion, Pagan. So
yeah, I've already given my opinion on it. In Trailer Talks, you can go ahead and watch that over on the RetroReplayShow.com, which is their website, or you can watch it on the Retro Replay Show YouTube channel.
So I'll throw it to Chris and Michael as far as what did you think about Cherry, or what did you think about the actual Trailer Talk discussion that they had?
Well, to be honest, I haven't really watched a whole lot of the Trailer Talk episodes because
Is that because of me?
No, it's
you're putting everybody off, Pagan.
Okay, fine. I guess I'm out. Fuck.
No, it's just, I just don't watch a whole lot of movies, so movie trailers aren't really anything.
Chris is dead.
That's fair. You did say that actually recently in a member Zoom. You were like, I don't really with movies.
Yeah, if y'all started talking game trailers as well as movie trailers.
Listen, no trailer is off limits.
True.
Like no trailer is off limits. So we are fully intending to discuss anything. It's a game, movie, media, like whatever's coming. Like we will completely discuss that. But watch the fucking show, dude. Jesus, I'm on it.
Okay. I will start watching it then. And I will even
you don't have to. You don't have to.
I will even like and comment to make sure I was there.
God, that Star Wars one kills me.
Star Wars one? Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
in the first
PJ's
episode,
reaction.
Michael. I advised
Especially yours, Pagan.
What?
Especially your reaction, Pagan.
Yeah.
Something that I discovered, and I question our friendship.
We were friends.
What? You were?
No, Michael, I don't know if you missed it, but the first episode of Trailer Talk, they asked me about sci-fi, and I was like, well, I do like sci-fi. And the reason, Drew is pointing the question to me, because he was like, is that in your wheelhouse? Because he knows that I don't really like Star Wars. So I was like, well, I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't like Star Wars. And they were like, what?
Oh, yeah, I've heard quite a bit of the backlash from
PJs.
that.
Whatever. They didn't like Snyder Cut, and I ruled that episode, so.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've never actually sat down and watched any of the Star Wars movies, so I don't even know.
Oh, there you go. See? Fine.
So,
Perfect. Perfect.
But it's not for everybody, so it's okay.
So
I mean, it's not
basically,
to say
it was just,
that I wouldn't.
Pagan was just owning the internet with that episode. It was set up for her to listen to everybody say, you know what, Snyder Cut looks awful, and then Pagan goes, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good, and then everybody on the internet went, we love you, Pagan.
That's actually an accurate summary. Everyone was like, and I was like, I think it looks great. The internet were like, yes, praise Pagan, she is Lord now. Like, okay, that's fine. Fine, you do you. But yeah, it's good.
Well, anyway,
but I totally understand that though, Michael. If you're not into movie trailers, then why would you watch a show about movie trailers? But yeah.
And
I
I'm
think
not
they've
sitting
said
here
that
saying
they will do other stuff though besides movie trailers though.
Yeah. I said again, no trailers off limits. We're gonna do games. We'll do movies, media, TV shows coming out, whatever.
Oh, and I've got the notification bell turned on, so I'll get the notification that, oh, this episode is about to go live, and I'm just like, what's it about? Oh, it's a movie trailer. So and I'm not gonna be like, I'm sure a lot of other people will be like, oh, trailer talk, why do they even do this? Take it down, because I know how much of this community does love movies. So
True.
It's just I'm not sitting here trying to campaign to have it removed, but it's just not.
I honestly, after watching the last few trailer talks, and I think it's just a vessel for Drew to nerd. It's 100% that's what it is Drew nerding out about how much he just loves movies.
Drew and PJ.
What do you think, Chris?
Nothing wrong with nerding out, no.
No nerd shaming here.
No nerd shaming.
True.
I mean, I haven't seen the cherry trailer talk yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it'd be interesting to see the movie.
Have you watched any of the previous trailer talks as well, Chris? Is this a show that interests you?
I saw the Star Wars one.
The Dune.
I haven't seen the entirety of the Snyder one, but I mean, I am looking forward to that movie too.
Cool.
I mean, just to see what it is. I mean, either way, I mean, I'm a little sad that some of the characters that are in the Snyder Cut, they're not returning because of what happened with the one guy, Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yeah.
But yet, it's I really wanted to see Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I really wanted to see what he would be if they were gonna have him in a Teen Titans movie, if they were, or maybe something else.
Yeah,
but
okay,
that's out the window.
That's fair.
It really kind of sucked to hear about Joss Whedon too, because I grew up watching Buffy, and it was
true.
I was like,
Same.
no, dude, come on, you can't be the one decent guy in Hollywood, kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's not him. I'm sure there is one decent guy in Hollywood. It's just not him. Much sad.
We may never know. All right, well, let's move on to this week's episode proper of Retro Replay, where Nolan got to sit down and play one of the mothers of all games, Legend of Zelda. And he did the classic thing of calling the character Zelda. No, that's Link. He's like, let's go, Zelda.
I did that too when I was a kid. So I can totally relate to that.
In the notes, Nolan. It's in the notes.
Did you not read what I put out there?
Well, he claims to not be able to read, so
that's true.
I'm glad he was able to read Zelda.
You have to call out the script before you go. Yeah. Takes a while, but you get used to it.
But that was definitely, I think, a long-awaited game. You know, like I'm sure there's been plenty of requests for them to play Legend of Zelda on Retro Replay, and it was topical timing as far as it was the 35th anniversary. You know, we just got the announcement of the Skyward Sword HD remaster, and I think it's a good time for them to talk about and play Zelda. And that was a fun episode that I've never really experienced Michelle Morrow myself, the guest that was on the show this time, where she's like an esports commentator. But the fact that they turned it on Drew and made Drew play while Nolan and Michelle basically just talk shit to Drew.
Right?
Like, that was the perfect way to go about that episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was when I saw that Drew was playing and Nolan was like half-ass commentating with a commentator. I was like, that's clever. That's clever structure for this.
It was good comedy as well. Like, they bounced off each other really well, and Nolan would say something almost inappropriate, and then Michelle would start laughing, and yeah, I thought this was really good. I also loved that kind of like, hey, do you want to like do a demo of like esports commentating? It was really interesting because they haven't done anything like that before. And poor Drew. Drew's gameplay, I feel like I need to stand up for Drew here. Drew's gameplay is probably a lot better, but he just didn't have the audio. Like, all he could hear was like him getting roasted by Michelle and Nolan in his ear while he was playing. So I'm pretty sure that is very distracting.
I think him being on the spot probably got to him a little bit too, because he even says in the episode, he's like, I'm nervous now. And in my experience with Drew, like he's not one to like perform like gameplay for others.
It's good though.
Yeah, I've only just recently got into performing gameplay for others. Shameless plug.
Dabbling in the twitching.
Oh, you're streaming now? That's awesome.
Yeah, I've only in the last month I've only streamed twice, but
it's cool though.
But if you're not used to it, it is kind of like there's some pressure to be like, oh, I don't want to suck in front of people watching,
Yeah, like I can play that game. I've been playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And I can play that game because I also have it on my Vita. I can play that game, beat it one whole day, barely get touched. But I've died twice so far on stream. It's like, oh.
Well, unless there's other people out there who are like masters of the game, you're not going to be judged that hard, I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
I consider myself a master of that game because I know where all the secrets are, and I can get 206% in 6 hours. And
now you need to be a master of streaming it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Difference.
So anyways, I'm a big Legend of Zelda fan, if that wasn't clear already. We've talked about Zelda plenty here. I assume that someone else might be a Zelda fan here.
I mean, maybe.
Are you?
No, yeah, I am. I mean, I played my very first Zelda game was Link's Awakening.
Same.
And that was the Game Boy Color that I had. And I remember, like, my mother was so invested into that game. Like, after work, she would just immediately be going like, all right, where's the color? She found a little printout walkthrough, like how to get like certain items and everything. And she was just like, all right, so where do I go next? Okay.
That's so cute.
And then I would just go like, so when is it my turn to play? No, I'm almost done.
That was my dad.
She would hog that until it was time for her to go to bed. And I would just go, now I can finally play it. Nope, time to go to bed.
Batteries are dead.
Yeah, batteries are dead. That's right. Because they use the double A's. Man.
And she would have a stash of them in her bedroom and you wouldn't know where any of them are.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think that's awesome, though, that Link's Awakening was also your first Zelda game, because that was my first Zelda game. I didn't actually play the original until many years later, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play the first one, and I was like, this is hard. The first one is brutal, and like Nolan did well He did die quite a bit, but still, that first original game is pretty hard, and I'm proud of Nolan that he managed to get through the first dungeon at least with Drew's guidance, of course. But still, like, proud of him.
He said there was a glitch to get to the final dungeon without having to go through the entire thing.
I think almost every Zelda game has that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and I go, oh, well, that's pretty interesting. And I've never played that game either.
It's the level 1 door glitch, right? Where you just
I think it is.
You basically enter and then just exit and then come back in. Like go back the way you came back in, and it's unlocked. You're like, oh, well, shit. Thanks. I've never played any Zelda game. Legend of Zelda game. Never played any of them.
I'd have to say Majora's.
Chris is just like, we are not friends.
No, it's okay, Pagan.
I mean, like,
okay. Thank you for forgiving me.
It's okay. I'm going to join you here, Pagan. I'm not a big fan of the ones I've played.
Okay.
Except for Majora's Mask. And it's not even really like the game concept.
I don't like Majora's Mask.
I couldn't I couldn't with it because like the intro enough with that with the guys like saying this guy stole my mask and then he has that creepy face. I'm like, oh God, no, stop looking at me like that, please.
So I'm gonna like go get a can of worms, and every time I'm about to say something no one's gonna agree with, and just so listen.
The unpopular opinions.
So listen.
But no, like the thing about Majora's Mask though is I like the character, like put a different mask on, get different abilities. I like games that do stuff like that.
Don't get me wrong. I think the gameplay mechanics they did in Majora's Mask were pretty brilliant for the time. It's the overall game loop of the time where it resets every 3 days. That's the thing that drove me nuts in Majora's Mask. And it was just like, no, not for me.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, like the character changing and the masks and all that was literally the only thing I liked about it. And that moon was creepy.
Oh yeah, everything in that game was creepy. Pagan is just like, whoosh.
I've got nothing. I have nothing here. It's interesting though. Like listening to it, it is interesting. And I did research on the game before they did it, which is cool. There's some really interesting things there for that game. And I'm sure if I did play it, I would like it, but I just haven't. So
the original, you can play it on the Switch.
Just any of them. Like I haven't played any of them.
Yeah.
That's there's so many of my friends who are like, Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest games ever, and I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna go over here and play Pokemon. I've
said it multiple times on this podcast where I said Breath of the Wild is probably one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah,
and you're like, is it really? And I'm like, yes. Like it is.
You stand firm in that opinion, Dan.
I'm still learning new things in that game. It's been out for almost 5 years. And there's still like things like,
dang, been 5 years.
Came out in 2017.
We so old now.
Yeah.
Damn. I feel old now. I remember like the announcement trailer for that game, and now it's like that was 5 years ago.
Well, 4 years ago.
Ish.
Still.
I just couldn't help but explore the heck out of that game.
Just
unlocking those towers in order to get the fast travels and everything. And also getting like different swords and shields.
Yeah, like the amount of customization in that game is mind-boggling, and I'm still just finding new stuff all the time playing that game. It's actually been my guilty pleasure now for the last couple of weeks, especially because we lost power for almost a week. And my go-to was Breath of the Wild. I'm like, let me go back into Breath of the Wild, since the Switch was like one of the few things I could do to entertain myself without power. So
see, I think that's why every game company should have a handheld for things like that. Because like I have a Vita. I don't lose power very often, but I've got a Vita. I've got something I can play when I'm not at home with my PlayStation, something like that.
Did you see the entire Final Fantasy series? It's coming to mobile.
What?
That
they've I've actually looked in the Play Store, and they do have them in there.
Yeah. Well, they did that with like Xbox too. Like they released all of the Final Fantasy is getting like redone or re-released in some form or fashion, and now they also did a there's 2 new Final Fantasy games that were announced too. There was a Final Fantasy 7 mobile version, kind of like what they did with Final Fantasy 15 is coming out, and then there's a like a kind of a dumbed down version of Final Fantasy 7
like a
remake
pocket edition,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually truer to the original version of the game, but with like updated graphics. If you watch the trailer,
let me see if I can find it for you.
And then they also announced a Final Fantasy Battle Royale game, like Fortnite, where you're running around and shooting people, and you've got like magical abilities. Kind of, yeah. It was more Fortnite-ish from what I've seen, though. Like you're using a gun predominantly.
I mean, some of the characters do use guns, but it's like I couldn't imagine Cloud with an AK.
Well, you're not playing as like the main heroes in it, though. It's like characters set like, in a Final Fantasy universe.
So it was like that that one thing they tried to do with 15, the Comrades, I think it was called.
Possibly.
Yeah, that was kind of like that, but it was like team deathmatch. Like.
Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis.
I did hear about that.
That's the new one for mobile.
Yeah, because I remember reading that they copyrighted the name, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, are we getting a Crisis Core 2?"
No,
and it's like, well,
it's
no,
just Final Fantasy 7 on phones, basically.
Yeah,
but it's not the original game, and it's not the new game.
Is it like?
It's like the pocket edition of Final Fantasy 15. Like,
sorry, yeah. Apologies. Yeah, so it's Final Fantasy 7 timeline. Like the whole timeline is being wrapped into one mobile game.
That's awesome.
But not every Final Fantasy game. Every Final Fantasy 7.
Apologies. It looked like they were because I only saw an image about this. If I'm honest, I only saw an image, and they had multiple like Final Fantasy logos from all of the different versions of the game.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, the whole thing's coming. And I've just texted Adam there now, and he's like, no, it's Final Fantasy 7, but the whole timeline. So all of the individidividual games from Final Fantasy 7 will be wrapped into one. So I was like, oh, this makes sense.
Crisis Core, then 7, then Cerberus.
Yes. So apologies. I stand corrected. It's not the Final Fantasy total timeline game thing. It's just Final Fantasy 7 in one timeline.
Gotcha.
That is going to be killer. I can't wait for that now.
For mobile. I don't know if it's coming for Switch or anything. I think it's just mobile.
Yeah, I think it's only been confirmed for mobile.
I'm doing my own research.
There you go.
Everybody just doing the research.
Coming in 2022 for iOS and Android. There you go.
Never mind. I'm not gonna bother looking it up now.
There you go. But that's some like news that I think that's interesting, because you were saying about like having mobile versions of those games to have available or playable when you have no power. Is that Final Fantasy?
It's the this was on the first episode we talked about my game tattoos. But yeah, that's that's the logo from. It's like behind the opening credits in the original Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I would like to see more of those. Like, I understand about Switch and everything, but mobile gaming is really big, and I enjoy mobile gaming. I had an emulator on my phone recently for Pokemon Yellow, and I was like, amazing. So I completed the Pokemon Yellow game. It was great. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and I've been kind of messing around with the new Amazon Luna, which is like their streaming platform for Amazon. And then there's, of course, Xbox has xCloud to stream games to your like any device essentially for Xbox, which is cool because you have the entire Game Pass library available on that.
Cool. Fuck.
The only downside though is it requires internet to do any of those things, and if you don't have internet, you're boned.
Yeah. So Drew, that rules you out.
So you could tether from your phone
and true. You could tether.
I'm talking about like the blackout situation I was in though was very difficult.
Oh yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah. Anywhu, that's gonna wrap it up for us here today, guys. So before I close this out, I'm gonna give you each a chance to just throw out any socials, or if there's anything else you want to talk about real quick, or about if you want to go first, Chris.
Well, you could find me on Twitter, Roronosuke. Or on Instagram, same thing, Roronosuke without the numbers.
Gotcha.
And I am on everything: Twitter, Instagram, at MP Timmons 101. I'm on the PlayStation Network at MP Timmons. And I'm not going to throw my Twitch out there just yet because
still working on that.
Yeah.
Developing.
Like I don't have the ability to do it the way I want to. Like I want the capture card, the camera, and all that stuff, and I'm just no cam streaming straight from my PS4. So I want it to be a little, a little bigger before I throw it out there.
Everybody starts somewhere and builds their way up, so it's all good. And Pagan.
Hello. You can find me at all the usual places, and we'll put that in the description link down below. But it's at Pagan Plays on Twitter and at Pagan_Plays on Instagram and Twitch.
Thank you. And I am Stark Evil Vash on every platform except for the Twitter. I'm Stark Evash. That's STARK with a Y VASH. Hawaii. Just wanted to throw out a quick reminder if anyone is listening out there and have any questions regarding Retro Replay membership, you can please email members@retroreplayshow.com, as Pagan is very adamant to express.
If you have
and
questions,
let us know.
if there's queries about your perks, if you haven't received any of your perks and you would like to receive them, or if you haven't had a chance to do something that you still want to do, please email members@retroreplayshow.com. I will take your questions at the end, Chris.
At the end. If you have any questions for cast or crew for Retro Replay, you can let us know at the Replayer Podcast by emailing us at the replayerpodcast@gmail.com, and we can try to get those questions sent in, or I will pass them on to Pagan and say, here, Pagan, instead of members.
Got a whole heap for you.
Perfect.
Cool.
Bring them in.
Send them in. And you can stay up to date with our podcast and when we upload by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google. And you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook, and just keep up to date with everything and all of our uploads each week. Also on the Retro Replay website.
Because you're affiliated now.
Affiliated. That's game over, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Sorry.
No, honestly, I think that is awesome. Like you guys, it started out as just like a fan service kind of thing, but now you guys are you're part of it. That is part of it. That is just too cool to me.
Yeah, that's cool. We nerded out when that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know